I'll start with the introduction of computer networks. The invention of computer networks started with the invention of telegraph. Firstly, telegraphs came which were working on the principle of light. Then later on, wire telegraphs came, wireless telegraphs came, telephone was invented. So after that, one after another, many innovations kept on happening. But it was the actual invention of the computer networks. And computer networks is an interdisciplinary field which involves telecommunication engineering, mathematics, because we need mathematics for cryptography. Computer network involves electronics, electrical, computer science, even programming. It is an interdisciplinary field which involves various disciplines. And computer networks are also called datacom. And the speed kept on increasing with time in context of computer networks. The efficiency of the computer networks kept on increasing with time. It happened because of the Moore's law, which states that after every 18 months, 24 months, or 30 months, the capability of the hardware will double with the cost remaining same. And a lot of technological innovations kept on happening in the field of battery also, because according to one law, the capability of the battery will double after every 10 years with the cost remaining same. And after every 18 months to 24 months or 30 months, what is happening is that the number of cores, the clock frequency, memory, cache memory, register memory, main memory, everything kept on doubling. It played a crucial role in the uh, technological innovations of the computer networks, and it kept on happening. As a result, the mainframes were invented, and later on modified versions of the mainframe were result in the inventions of the cloud computing. So one technology led to the invention of another technology, and there are different types of ways of sending the data and receiving the data. On the figure you can see that the sender is sending data to the receiver only one at a time. It is an example, and here the sender is sending data to the receiver, and receiver is also sending the data back. It can be in the form of acknowledgement, it can be reply to some sort of a challenge response or something like that. So this is half duplex, and here sender and receiver are both sending at the same time. So this is an example of a full duplex communication. Here what I'm trying to say is that these are the different ways by which sender and receiver can communicate. And WAN or wide area networks, their invention was very crucial. And the first wide area network which got invented was the ARPANET. It was invented by United States DoD, and their main aim was to connect different types of the university computers in different university campuses. Later on, a lot of technological progress keep on happening in the form of in the field of wide area networks. And the earliest wide area networks were using telephone networks, but nowadays they have their own separate infrastructure. And these innovations also affected LAN or local area network. And later on, many types of networks came up, like MAN, metropolitan area network, GEN, global area network. We'll be discussing on that. And switching can be of different types which are used in the different networks. For example, packet switching. Packet switching will allow the routing of packets in a type of network called heterogeneous network. And it also allows multiple layers to work in synchronization. And one of the innovations in wide area network was that circuit switching was no longer used. So wide area network started with the packet switching, but later on wide area network started with circuit switching, but later on they moved to packet switching. So packet switching was very efficient, and it enabled us to handle a sort of a bursty traffic very easily. Because what was happening is that what happened was that there was a very great innovation in wide area network, was that the circuit switching was discontinued and circuit switching was replaced by the packet switching. Because the data would come in burst, and packet switching had the capability to handle that kind of the data both practically and theoretically. During the early days, wide area networks had been sharing the already existing communication infrastructure, but later on wide area networks developed their own infrastructure, and I'll call it that it happened because the hardware became more efficient and the hardware became more cheaper. The earliest wide area networks had speed of few kbps or kilobits per second, but later on it increased to gigabits per second, terabits, and petabits. So even now also we are having a lot of new technological innovations. And the earliest networks were limited to just text, but nowadays you can send almost anything. You can send a 3D video file also. You can even perform 3D video live conference on network. So a lot of innovations have taken place which are beyond our expectations. On the other hand, there were some complications. For example, how you will handle the error, how you will how you will handle the flow control and the error control. And so different types of networking protocols were invented to handle these kind of unexpected problems. And low rate analog channels were taken on lease to handle network traffic. The computers kept on becoming more powerful. They kept on becoming smaller in size. And the space which were consumed by the computers kept on reducing. As a result, even individuals or smaller business organizations could have enough money to purchase their own computer. And the LANs also, local area network, they kept on becoming more efficient. Their bandwidth kept on increasing, and the speed at which the local area network was transmitting data, that also kept on increasing. And it did put an effect on the physical topology and on the physical devices which were used for communication, because nowadays you already know we are having optical fibers. We have got this RJ45 plug. So it enabled end users to send and receive data in a very efficient manner, and different types of the microcomputers and mini computers could be connected in the same organization. And it was very easy to disconnect or even connect a computer, because it was just plug and play hardware. So a lot of complications of the software were reduced in the future architectures. So the network topology will consist of different types of the connectors, network adapters, cables, mechanisms for transmitting data, drivers, and the different types of the hardware and the software which you will need to send and receive data on the network. And network became so much simpler that what was just required was that we needed a network adapter, networking software, standard cable, and a standard connector. And since the invention of the Ethernet, the use and I'll say the of the network has only increased, because they have become more and more widespread. Now the question will come up is that how will you define the quality of the networks? Some of the parameters are the delivery of the packets, the timeliness, accuracy, and jitter. And there is a sort of a media which can be used to send data from the center to receiver. It can be wired media, wireless media. It can be infrared, Bluetooth, radio waves, microwaves, optical fiber, light waves, lasers also. Laser is an upcoming technology. A lot of research is going on lasers. And another problem in the network is that there are different types of hardware architectures. It can be 16-bit, 64-bit, 32-bit. There can be different types of operating systems: Windows, Apple iOS, Linux. So to connect all that, we need a common set of rules called the protocols. For example, FTP, file transfer protocol, will work on many operating systems. Similarly, this HTTP or HTTPS, TCP. These kind of protocols, they work on most of the hardware architectures and almost many of the operating systems. So as a result, you will not have any problem in the connection when you are connecting different operating systems or different hardware architectures. There is no such thing as connectivity problem, because all these things have been already sorted out. And the quality of communication can be calculated by the reliability, security. Security is a very big topic, and the performance. The time in which the message goes from the sender to the receiver is called the transit time, and response time is the time which is elapsed from an inquiry to getting a response. The different types of the parameters which determine the performance of the network are the kind of transmission medium which we have used, how many users are there in the network, what kind of software and what kind of hardware has been used in the network. Moreover, any sort of improvement can be done at the software level, hardware level, and at the algorithm level. There are different ways of connecting the network. For example, multi-point and point-to-point. Point-to-point is a sort of a dedicated link in which the entire capacity of the communication channel is used. In the multi-point, what is happening is that there are different users which are sending at the same time. So the channel capacity is shared either spatially or either temporarily. And there are different ways of connecting the network using different topologies. It can be star topology, ring topology, mesh topology, bus topology. Every topology has its own advantages and disadvantages. So we will start with the most simple one. It is the star topology. I'll give you one example. This is the example of a star topology. Here, this is the central node. If it goes down, then the entire communication is down. This is an example of a ring topology. Here, messages can be sent both in clockwise as well as in counterclockwise direction. This is the example of a mesh topology. And if there are n users, then the total number of possible connections are n into n minus 1 by 2. As you can see that there are 4 users. So I am applying mathematics over here, and using the principles of discrete mathematics, I am drawing all these graphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, n into n minus 1 by 2. It is 4 into 3 divided by 2. It comes out to be 6. Okay. And these kind of topology is very helpful in finding out the faults, in removing the faults, in early detection and prediction of the faults. And the central node in the star topology is called the concentrator. This node in the star topology is the concentrator. Similarly, here you can see that there are 3 different computers, and these are the different ways of connecting them. 3 into 2 divided by 2. Okay, so n into n minus 1 by 2. There is one more way, but that is not shown in the figure. And moreover, a hybrid topology is a combination of different types of topologies at the same time. I'll give you an example. This is an hybrid topology, because this is a ring topology. You can see then star topology is also there, bus topology is also there in the figure. Here I am using multiple types of network architectures at the same time. And local area network can be as small as connecting 2 different computers. It can be as large as connecting a complete university campus, or connecting the different parts of the organization. Earlier, the speed of local area network was limited to 100 Mbps, but nowadays, obviously, it has gone up. And every packet within the network has got the source or the originator and the destination where it has to go. So every host also has got an address and address for the unique identification. Nowadays a lot of changes are also getting place as how the network will be as how the data transmission will be handled by the host. And moreover, what is happening is that we are using combinations of different architectures at the same time. For example, in this figure, as you can see, that let us assume that this is a wide area network, and let us assume that this is a local area network. Let us assume that this is a local area network, and this is the queue of the packets. In a modern network, we can use a combination of hybrid topology, combination of local area networks, combination of wide area networks for real life communication. A wide area network which has got multiple WANs connected at the same time using switches is called the switched WAN. And the switching which I have already discussed, they also have their own advantages and disadvantages. But in real life implementations, neither circuit switching nor packet switching is more important. Actually, hybrid switching is used. Okay. Because hybrid switching will be using combinations of both circuit switching and packet switching. Okay. And the packet switching is used in telephone networks, but the disadvantage is that it can only forward the data, it cannot store the data. Circuit switching can only forward the data, it cannot store the data. That is why it is used for telephone networks. On the other hand, packet switching can do both the activities, forwarding and storing. That is why it is packet switching can perform both the activities of forwarding the data and storing the data. And I'll give you an example of a network. As you can see, this is the switch and it is connected to total 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 hosts. So one switch is connected to multiple hosts at the same time. That's all, and thanks a lot for watching.